What's up, everybody? Welcome to PSI Love You XOXO episode 57. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside He Only Does Everything, Colin Moriarty.
It's good to be here with you. I'm just updating my drivers.
What are you doing on this fantastic PC?
We are playing. We have to do something with Battlefield on PC, just for a little thing we're doing with our friends at Rooster Teeth. Now, we'll play it on PlayStation 4 like normal people.
Like normal
But for people that aren't normal, they have to play it on PC.
Yeah.
And I got this classic detected NVIDIA GeForce driver version 369.9. The required driver version is 372.9.
Of course. You didn't know that? Come on.
And then I have to go to GeForce. So now I went to this thing here, and it's the new GeForce Experience. All I want you to do is install the. Can you do it? It remains to be seen.
Now,
it remains to be seen.
We say I had a little bit of karma come back and bite me, Colin. Because, we like to give the PC gamers, the PC gaming, a bit of the good times, right? Give them the old heave-ho.
The 1-2, the college try.
We always talk.
Still don't know what that means.
I don't know. You're just trying hard. Why aren't you trying in general? But we give them some of the shit. You know what I mean? Good-natured ribbing. Because you and I have confessed before, of course. PC's probably the superior form of gaming. Games look great, whatever. Backwards compatibility, play wherever you want to. You got to play like this, though. Not for us.
Now it tells me it's uninstalling something, and all I did is click on install. So what is happening?
It's got to It's got to get rid of the Venom to put in the new Venom. This weekend, I woke up, had a cup of coffee, played some Kids in Tetris, and then I was like, it's time to try PlayStation VR porn. And I went over because Colin and Greg Live. I had seen it on Reddit. We talked about it, Colin and Greg Live, and then we reached out to virtualrealporn.com, who's making PSVR porn videos. And they gave me a sample code. I went in. You go to the computer, right? You log in. You download the porn you want to your PC. You put it on a flash drive. You walk over to your PS4. You plug it into your PS4. You go to your media player. You put on your PSVR unit. You're fucking watching people fucking in PlayStation VR.
Good for you.
Here's the problem. This has been a public escalation, and I've been out in front of everybody doing this as I try to find the PlayStation VR porn and use it effectively. And I tweet that I'm doing it, and then I go in and use it. But I turn it on, I get in there, I start watching the videos, Colin. Everything's in a keyhole. You know what I mean? It's very clear that it's supposed to be grabbed and stretched around my head, but it's shrunk. And I'm right-clicking on options here. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm going through my modes.
You're doing this one hand because your penis is in the other hand.
Not yet. Come on. Okay. I don't just start fucking rock hard. I got to see what's happening over here. I got to see what these dudes what this guy and girl are doing to each other. Now, I go through the full screen, this thing, nothing. I can't get it to expand. I can't get it to move. And so I tweet out. I'm like, some guy tweeted me, yeah, I watched it last night. It was all right. It wasn't great. I was like, how did you do it? And he said, you got to put your media player in VR mode. And I'm like, I am trying to do that. I quit the videos, Colin. I quit back out. I'm hitting the option button on the media player, before I go in even. Is there something there? I can't do it. Some other guy chimes in. He's telling me that he watched it. And I'm like, how did you do it? He said VR mode. I'm like, I can't find VR mode. And he goes, did you update the media player? And I went, are you fucking kidding me? This is what it's come to. I scroll over to notifications, go up to downloads. Sure enough, since I never used Media Player, I turned on Media Player for the first time, and it downloaded an update 18 minutes ago. But at no point when I'm watching these people grinding on top of each other in this keyhole did it say, hey, do you want to start install this update? So then I install the update, Colin, and first thing I say is, oh, fuck. I'm in the house all by myself. There's a little porty next to me because I've been trying to get these videos to work. So I'm watching the escalation.
Did you at least put them away?
No, he loves it. He loves the movement and the action. I see the escalation of the porn video, but it's all keyholed. I don't know what's happening. Then it expands out. This woman's right on top of me. I just scream, oh, fuck, in our house all by ourselves. I'm sure our landlord heard it. It's like, Greg's probably watching porn down there, the VR porn. And so
was it so realistic that you felt a kind of a licking sensation on your penis, and then suddenly you realized it was because your dog is sitting next to you?
I didn't break out the peanut butter for this one. But I did the VR porn. I did 3 VR porn videos. When you say
that the keyhole was the keyhole, sized appropriately for your small penis.
Well, no, you don't fuck through a keyhole, Colin. Come on.
Well, you do.
Think about it. What does that one even mean? That's like a weird, I'm fucking through a sheet thing, but through a keyhole?
I don't know. So
I did VR porn.
Did you like it?
I mean, it was weird.
I bet you it was.
Do you want to know what I didn't like about it? The performances. These poor women all had accents. Clearly, English isn't their first language, and they're
Eastern Europeans.
Somebody's trying to make them say things they don't even understand what they're saying.
What are they saying? Tell me a little bit about
that. She was horny, but she wasn't saying horny.
What was she saying?
Horny, like, you know what I mean?
You got it. You understand.
I understood, sure, but I understand. I'm like, just speaking your native tongue, honey. I'm here with my PlayStation VR headset on. I'm getting ready to go back to play Batman Arkham Asylum, the Batman Remaster Collection. You're just hurry it up. Tell me what's wrong. Where can I help you? What can I do for you? And then, of course, there's that sensation of just laying there. My hands are dead at my side.
I don't like the idea of VR porn. Part of me doesn't, because I feel like, remember what Cliffy B told us at GDC, that guy was, I think it was at GDC when he told us that on our show that the guy was like furiously masturbating and his wife came in and the guy had no idea that she was there because he was, had the headset on, the headphones.
Those are that is dangerous. And of course I was watching this in our living room. So I mean, like, that you could come in at any time and see what's happening. Did you play anything, Colin? It was your birthday weekend. Did you play some Dragon Quest Builders?
I played Dragon Quest Builders. I did. I played it for, I don't know, I want to say 3 or 4 hours maybe.
Okay.
I'm still on chapter 1, Caitlin. It's really good. I find that general type of game on Minecraft, I guess.
Sure.
Be a little bit at odds with what I want to do in a game, but I like,
Does this help having a story later on top?
Yeah, I think so. But I like, I really love Dragon Quest. It was the same reason why when Omega Force released that Musou, Dragon Quest Heroes, or whatever the fuck it was called.
Yeah.
I played that for 10 hours or so because I really enjoy Dragon Quest. So it's cool to hear the familiar music and the familiar scenery, the familiar enemies, weapons, items, and stuff like that. I just like being immersed in that world, and since we haven't gotten a new Dragon Quest game in some time, Dragon Quest 9 really is the last core Dragon Quest game that we got in the States, and Dragon Quest 10 obviously no one gives a fuck about, and so Dragon Quest 11 we're waiting for, and this is a nice little kind of interstitial thing. I don't know how long I'll play it, but I've been enjoying
How
it.
does the combat and the story and like the challenge of it compare to a regular Dragon Quest? Because my thing is,
the combat's nothing like Dragon Quest.
I'm way in front of you. Obviously, I've been playing longer or whatever, and it wasn't until last night that I realized, because I almost used up all my healing, the cream or whatever the hell it is, and I was like, oh, I've been stockpiling these seeds of life.
Yep, I figured that out today.
And I had like 12 seeds of life, and it turns out they increase your health bar by 10. But, and I had been playing for hours.
5, I think.
Whatever. But I mean, like, it dramatically increased my bar from 34.
I realized, that I wasn't using these things. I was like, oh yeah. And then, but they're kind of good curative items too. Like, you could use them all at once to stack your HP, which you shouldn't do. What you should do with those is save them to heal yourself when you're really low, and then it'll add plus to permanently to HP, but then fill up your hit point bar. So it's basically a super curative item as well. You get it for completing quests and stuff like that.
But my point is that even after the fact, it hasn't mattered. I felt the combat and stuff so easy, right? I mean, it's just attack these monsters, dodge some attacks, there you go. And if you do, usually when I wait, if I get up into a boss battle, I'm getting wave after wave attacking the building or whatever, I can just go sleep afterwards, chill out, feel my health that way. Yeah,
I feel like I dig the game. I mean, there's a lot in there for Dragon Quest fans to like. What I'm so curious about, and you like Minecraft, what I'm so interested in is you're really digging this game with having no heritage with Dragon Quest, and so I wonder if it could also go the other way for you, that you get into Dragon Quest. I doubt that you would like Dragon Quest, but
why is that? Because it's a grindy RPG kind of thing?
It's just very turn-based, very, very grindy, very traditional role-playing game. It doesn't get much more traditional.
The question I was driving at before, though, is it challenging, Dragon Quest?
Yeah, it can be. Okay. Yeah, it's very grindy. It's grindy.
I mean, the combat and everything else just isn't a challenge. The game overall is like baby's first, either Minecraft or Dragon Quest.
No, but the combat's not like, what you're doing in this game is nothing like Dragon Quest. I mean, Dragon Quest is turn-based entirely. Yeah. A lot of the odes to like the way the screen like kind of blacks out and blacks in with the little things around it, and so that's how you enter in and out of battles, and it's like Phantasy Star or something like that. It's for you, because you were a Sega nerd, maybe you played that more, but it's Dragon Quest Heroes is not like Dragon Quest, but it's got all of the hallmarks of Dragon Quest, which is cool, and that's why I dig it in. So it's a nice little kind of nostalgia. It itches that nostalgia kind of itch, I guess, that I have, and scratches, yeah. And itch, it's interesting with the word itch.
Here we go.
You're itching an itch. You can say
you're
that.
Scratching an itch.
You can itch.
That's scratching.
Isn't that it?
No, that's scratching.
Don't you itch?
I think right now, if my arm itched, it would be itching. And
like as a verb?
Scratching it.
Itch verb.
I love you.
I want to look.
XOXO.
I don't know. Doesn't matter. Oh, Eric. So I was down in San Diego. Eric Casher brought up this really interesting thing to me too about when you're modifying a noun that I
was like, oh, he's playing Dragon Quest? No, he's talking about verbs and nouns and grammar.
Just that, like, this is an interesting thing. I haven't looked at the article yet. He told me to look it up. I haven't found it yet, but I haven't really even looked for it. But that, like, the more subjective something is about a noun, the further away from the noun it is when you modify it with multiple modifiers. So you say or no, maybe it's the other way, actually. The more subjective, the closer. So the big, beautiful house. You wouldn't say the beautiful big house, right? Necessarily, you tell me like the big, beautiful house because you can say like it's big for sure. Beautiful is subjective, right? Is that interesting? And he was saying that some guy wrote up this thing with like 10 different sequences, like age, beauty, and all these kinds of things, and they always go in the same order in our minds. Isn't that interesting?
Interesting. That is interesting.
Yeah.
Unless I would think the most impressive thing about the house was its size.
But then you would
The beautiful big house. I'm looking at
you
a
would
bunch
say
of
the
big
beautiful
houses
big
today.
house.
Instead
of the big,
if on the
beautiful house.
block what you understood that house to be was the big house, yeah, like it's the
The
biggest.
beautiful big house, you would say.
If I'm talking about other big houses, yeah,
I don't believe
I think
you.
it's possible. Yeah,
No.
you don't think that's ever been said?
I think someone said it at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm
No,
so
Dragon
tired.
Quest. My so far
Long weekend.
I beat or whatever. I've completed the chapter on Caitlyn. Is that how we're saying it? You always pronounce words better.
I think it's Cantlin.
Cantlin.
Yeah.
I've done that one, but as I was about to go through, it warns you like everything you're going to do is you're going to lose your everything you have here, right? And I think there's a trophy for completing every side objective in every town.
Yep.
So I need to actually look into a trophy guide before I jump. I don't want to jump.
And that's where things get a little fucked up.
Late
Because I was
down.
reading about this because I'm like, these trophies are unusual. I just updated the fucking thing.
Woo! PC gaming.
I literally I can't with this right now. I probably shouldn't be anyway. But so I was reading about this because there's no trophy guide yet. I assume maybe that there was a trophy guide from the Japanese version floating around. I couldn't find one. I didn't look very deeply, but so people were saying that I'm like, this trophy list seems unusually easy.
Yeah.
One of the peculiar design choices they brought up to me is that there's no quest log, right? And there's
Right.
no challenge list. Like you just kind of do these things as you go. But apparently one of the challenges that starts at the beginning of every chapter is time. And
really?
There are missable. The trophies are missable. Now you can go back and replay it, but you have to start from the very beginning to get through it in a certain amount of time.
Interesting. That sucks.
And apparently that is going to hinder us from getting our trophies. I'm certainly not playing going that.
That totally
crazy.
sucks. I've been dicking around having a great time.
Yeah, I know.
That.
That's kind of like I thought the idea. So like to
Minecraft
have a
again,
challenge that is tried to intimately to a gold trophy per chapter seems a little bit peculiar, like you said. In addition to like not being able to see that from the very beginning. So.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I enjoy it. I don't know how much more time I'm going to put into it because I was kind of bouncing back and forth between that and the Swindle, which came out last year.
Yeah. That's the one where you 2D, you're going in, you break in over into different places.
Yeah.
Right? Is it randomly generated, procedurally generated?
Yeah, it's like procedurally generated.
Yeah.
There's like 6 different stages. You use, you're getting pounds, like British
getting
pounds.
fat?
No, British pounds of the money to like upgrade your character and stuff like that, and get into new things. And I was looking at the trophy list and just was kind of dicking around with it a little bit. I haven't played it since last year, and I like one of the trophies is if you rob a poor person's house on Christmas Eve, you get a trophy. Like your Vita's. You can say your Vita to Christmas Eve. So I was like, that's interesting. But other than that, I mean, I was gone for, like you said, for my birthday, so I was kind of doing other things. But I probably played Vita for 4 or 5 hours this week, and it was nice to jump back in. But what was so funny about it was I was really thinking a lot about VR. Like when I was gone, yeah, I was just because I felt it reminded me of when Vita came out or when PS4 came out, when we had everything, like all the launch games, because Sony does a really nice job of getting us codes for games. But typically traditionally, I mean, we've only been there for a few launches. They get you everything. When something comes out, you have everything. When Vita came out, we had every code. When PS4 came out, we had everything. And with VR, we had every game. So they just kept sending us codes over and over again. And what I found, it's a great problem to have, I guess, but I found myself overwhelmed.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I went out with someone yesterday, last night, and I was asking him about his experience with PSVR, and I was like, what games do you have? And all he had was Batman, which he's even loath to play because he was saying that he was afraid it was going to spoil Arkham Knight for him. And I'm like, I don't think it will. But
How hasn't he played Arkham Knight?
I don't know, but I was like,
together.
I don't think it has anything to do with it. I don't know enough about it.
It does, actually.
It does it?
Yeah.
I beat Arkham Knight. I don't see how. Well, I don't know. I don't really guess I know that much. But I was like, yeah, maybe it makes sense. I don't really know. Look into it. But it kind of reminded me. I'm like, well, this is a more normal VR experience. Like he has one game that he's playing, and I'm like, I have all these games in my download list, and I'm thinking about them, and I'm jumping around from game to game, and I'm like, I really just want to sit there and play Super Hypercube. I really just want to sit there because fucking Super Hypercube is awesome. I really want to just sit there and play Job Simulator and do all these other things.
You got to be dying, right? Because going into the weekend, right? My idea was, okay, finally a weekend to myself. I'm here. I'm going to play video games. I'm going to play Dragon Quest Builders if I'm watching TV or going somewhere or something like that. But I'm going to play Rez. I'm going to play Eve Valkyrie. And I know that's one you.
Yeah, Eve Valkyrie. Did you like Eve Valkyrie?
I literally Friday, it's like, all right, time to go home. And I go to close the computer, and we got our code for Batman, the Arkham.
Oh, nice. So you've been playing that?
I went and played Asylum.
You beat the whole thing?
No, God no. But it's because I can't. I'm inundated with games to play right now. So it was.
It's a bad time for us.
I started playing Arkham. I know.
A good time.
Woe
though.
is me.
I know,
Woe
right?
is me.
Yeah,
right?
No, exactly.
Played hours of of Arkham Asylum, played hours of Dragon's Quest, and played hours of Tetris. And it was this bounce around thing of jumping around between all this stuff. Looked at VR porn for a little bit too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, and now we have Battlefield, so it's and not on, we have to play it on PC here, but we're gonna play it on PS4. We'll get into the trophies a little bit on that because I'm a little concerned about them. But so I just and I'm Tomb Raider sitting there. I really feel like I should finish Mafia. It's just, and these Vita games are coming out, and these little bite-sized games, the VR game. There's just
it's great.
It's a great problem to have, but it's I really do get this paralysis.
Yep.
Like this really very real paralysis when I have too many games where I just don't play anything because I'm like, I don't know.
That was this weekend,
I almost miss the days of having that's why I'm saying, like, I wish that it would be terrible for gaming and for the consumer, but I was like, just a year with no new games. Just 1 year where everyone just goes away. Let me catch up.
Getting Batman has pushed Tomb Raider back. I mean, and with having Arkham City the same way, where it's just pushed Tomb Raider back to where I still want to platinum Tomb Raider. I still want to put a lot of time into Tomb Raider. I want to do the DLC I never did, but it's backwards now. I'm not too worried about it. Batman's the focus. But then that meant too that it was just like Rez was my game, you know what I mean, from PSX last year, that like, holy shit, this is a VR game, this is a real fucking thing. And to get it, I was so excited, and then I got there and it was just like, well, I'm comfortable on the couch. I don't want to put it on. I don't want to stand up. I don't want to move around. I know I can sit and play, but that's also not what I wanted. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to sit there and just play something and have that story told to me, and that's what Batman was. The game runs really well, if you're wondering. Batman, it looks beautiful as always. When, of course, Arkham Asylum, just a masterclass in terms of like running around having fun. I like the combat, but I mean, even still going back, I forgot about how simple the challenges were, but how still rewarding they are to go get the Riddler trophy, to go over here, to run by, that Metroidvania feel of like, oh, there's a wall up there I can't blow out yet or pull down yet, but I'll get back to
Arkham Asylum is really good.
Yeah.
Really, really good. I really like that game a lot. It's been a long time since it came out, 7 years.
Yeah. I haven't played it forever. That's
I haven't played it since the launch.
I'm playing, I'm totally remembering things as I go. Like, oh yeah, this is great.
So I just feel like, to me, the good news is that Battlefield and Call of Duty are basically it until The Last Guardian, which I suspect is not going to be a very long game. So like, it gets more manageable. South Park got pushed away, a bunch of other games got pushed out, and we kind of have time to reconfigure our backlogs. The thing is that I still want to get back to BioShock. Like it's just too much. Yeah. And we have this very fortunate problem by getting all these games, but there's a lot. This is a problem a lot of gamers share as well. The people that buy everything basically don't have time to play it anyway. But everything will go into stasis soon, and we'll be able to catch up. And I'd like to bang out Battlefield. Like I might just like bang out Battlefield and just Call of Duty and just get these games out of the way, and then because they're going to be shorter experiences, especially these kind of vignettes that you do in Battlefield, and hopefully just get it done and then move on with my life if possible.
You'll never move on with your life.
I can never not move on.
If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is PS I Love You XOXO. It is kindafunny.com's PlayStation podcast. It is the #1 PlayStation podcast on the internet, and it posts every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and podcast services around the globe. So please go to kindafunny.com, subscribe to those YouTube channels, watch the other videos, just like everything, share it with your friends, tell grandma there's a great show called Love and Sex Stuff. She'll enjoy it. She'll learn a thing or two. And then, of course, if you're listening on your podcast service of choice, rate us, share us, subscribe, review, all that jazz. It helps us out. Also worth pointing out, we are getting closer and closer to Extra Life 2016. Go to kindafunny.com/Extra Life. You can join the Extra Life team, raise some money for sick kids. If you don't want to join the team, you can donate there and get ready for our stream in November. Colin,
yo,
let's begin the show with what is and forever will be Roper's Report. Time for some singular possessive news.
There are 11 items on the list.
A baker's dozen.
Almost. Number 1, it sure looks like Rockstar is teasing the third Red Dead game. In a series of 2 tweets, one launched the morning of October 16th and a second launched this morning, October 17th, when we're recording this. Rockstar Games' official Twitter account set the gaming world ablaze. The first picture is simply a Rockstar logo over a red background, but the second is more tantalizing. An artsy-looking shot with a red background, a rising sun, a black ground, and 7 figures on the horizon. No hashtag, no words, nothing else. Just these 2 images. The launch of the 2 images spiked the stock of Take-Two, Rockstar's parent company, up nearly 7% on Monday. And Take-Two's not a small company. Huge news. Now, this has been making, they launched it. So we're recording this on Monday. On Sunday morning, yesterday morning at 6 a.m. Pacific, the first one went up, which is just the logo that's like retweeted 100,000 times. The second one retweeted about
Did it also go up
100,000
at 6
times. Went up 5:59. I noticed.
We're counting backwards.
It's happening. I think not the launch, but the announcement, maybe the launch, but the announcement has to be imminent.
Yeah. You figure that, and this is one of those things. As usual, we're risking dating ourselves completely. But how do you think it's going to go?
Well, that's the thing I was thinking about. This is unfortunate. This might even be resolved by the time this publishes. But probably I assume it will be resolved this week.
Little time capsule.
So yeah, it'll be a little time capsule on what we're thinking with only these 2 images. I still think it might come out this year. Like I think that it's, first of all, let's be fair and call like it is. A lot of people saying like Colin and Greg have been saying no. Should this actually happen, and I don't think it's going to happen, but I think it could.
They're crazy.
That was a Colin was right moment, and I'm very proud of it. But I think that they can get away with this, and I think that this kind of thing builds momentum where I don't think it affects one sale of this game if they marketed it for 6 months. If they remember the rumor was going to come out November 18th and all this kind of stuff, and I don't know if that's true. I have no idea, and maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. It's going to sell like gangbusters on November 18th, and it's going to sell just as many copies if it comes out, say, in March, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if Rockstar wants to do it. I don't know if Take-Two wants to do that, to do this thing, to play around with to play around with Red Dead. I would think it would even be cool to play with Grand Theft Auto in the future like this, to just no, like you tweeted out, no imagery, no name. Like if you can get away with that, but I was talking to someone about it recently, where I'm like, this is going to be hard for them to do. If it's going to come out this soon and they're really not going to show it and all this kind of stuff, you have to have manufacturers you really trust. Clearly, this team is airtight. The game's been rumored to have been in development for like 5 years.
Yeah.
And nothing except for maybe a piece of a map, like a fragment of the map, has leaked. So they're airtight, and I can't imagine what their NDAs look like.
I still think they're crazy enough to do it. I think GTA would be the smarter move. There was an interesting thing, Colin Greg Live today. One of the kids in the chat pointed us to a GameSpot article from May of this year, where the CEO was like, "There's no games coming out this fiscal year," so that would have gotten us into spring, whatever, May of next year. Obviously they could be lying. I don't know if they would do that on that.
I don't know if they can. I don't see. I can see both sides of it. If I were to take a bet, I would say that it probably comes out next year. But I think that I think that it's probably just as possible as with any game that this actually comes out really soon.
I wish. I hope, but I don't see it happening. That's what in a perfect world. Sunday's the logo, Monday is that thing, Tuesday is the actual title, and Wednesday is the release date in a trailer or something like that.
Yeah, we'll see how it all goes. I'd love for them to tease it. I like how they have said nothing, and I said no hashtags, no words, nothing for PR. I think they are one of the few companies capable of this kind of thing, and so it's exciting to see what could possibly be done with this. But I was so happy to see the gaming community at large is really stoked about Rockstar kind of coming out of darkness with this particular game. We all know what it is, and just want to remind everyone, stop calling it Red Dead 2, please. It's Red Dead 3 now. And Red Dead Revolver just came out on PS2 or PS4 for PS2 Classics as well. So, or I think it's in the works. So it could be another little tease as well. Mm-hmm. But this could be associated with the number 2. Speaking of Take-Two, the company filed a trademark for something called Ghost Story, according to website Game Rant.
Multimedia event.
Ghost Story was trademarked on October 6th and covers not only video games but a television series, clothing, and more. That's all we know. Whether it's related to the seemingly new Red Dead game or something else remains to be seen. That's all we know about Ghost Story right now. I don't think that they're related, but
I don't think so either.
But maybe I don't I don't know. The timing's conspicuous, but for sure. But I don't see how that could possibly be tied in. But we don't know anything about it, so it could be called Ghost Story for all we know, or Red Dead Ghost Story, or I don't know. But probably Red Dead Revolution, Red Dead Restoration, Red Dead something. It's got to be something with the alliteration.
Yeah. Retribution.
Retribution, I think, is a common one. Yeah. Number 3. PlayStation VR is finally in the wild, and both Sony and outside analysts are bullish about the earliest prospects of the new PlayStation device. For starters, Game Informer has relayed information from marketing research company SuperData Research, noting that the firm anticipates 2.6 million PSVR units sold before the end of this year, helped by what the company cites as 44 million PS4s in the wild. So should this research be right, Sony hasn't announced a number since 40 million. We've been playing with the 45 million. These guys say 44 million. Units, PS4s in the wild right now. SuperData notes that Sony scheduled a total of 500,000 demos to help sell the unit pre-launch. This mirrors Sony's expectations, as CNBC reports that the company is, quote, ramping up production capacity to deal with the expected demand, end quote, something stated by Sony's Jim Ryan. Ryan told CNBC, quote, we know from the data we have from pre-orders that the interest we have is significant, ellipsis. We know the replenishment cycle is a good one. that production is going exactly as we anticipated. We have made decisions to further increase capacity at the back end of 2016 and into 2017, so there are going to be a lot of PlayStation VRs around the world. Whether that's enough to satisfy the demands of the market, we'll see, end quote. Sony has also reiterated what they've already said, that PSVR is being sold at a profit.
Tommy Dickfingers writes into kindafunny.com/PSQ just like you can to get your question read on the show. He says, what's overcooking good looking? What do you guys think of Sony's marketing strategy behind PSVR? I like to keep myself informed about the gaming industry and therefore have been in the loop and excited about the release of PSVR since it was announced. However, I have noticed a distinct lack of marketing and advertising directly from Sony leading up to the release in places other than those where a typical gamer would think to look. Parentheses, game conferences, game stores, etc. I think this could negatively affect PSVR's chances of success as quote-unquote casual gamers and people who never play games won't know what the hell it is or what it does. I think Sony has a massive Wii-style hit on its hands with PlayStation VR, but I don't think they'll ever hit those kind of numbers if the uninformed are kept uninformed. Thoughts and opinions, please. Tommy Dickfinger signing off. I disagree. I'm seeing it on TV. I'm surprised with watching, I was watching Walking Dead and Westworld, and so I guess AMC. AMC was running ads. Today we were out for burgers. There was a sporting event on. There was a VR ad there with no sound on, obviously, because of that. And I think that it's what we've talked about before in this show. If you're looking for a Wii-style uprising again, then they're marketing exactly the way the Wii was. The Wii didn't have commercials, if you remember, when it first hit, because it was targeted at gamers. It was targeted at you, Tommy Dickfingers. It expected you to get it, play it, and then show it. Get it in your
dick fingers.
Get it in your dick fingers, have them
Your dick
ejaculate
hands.
all over it, and then put it on your mom's head. Not the ejaculation, the PSVR unit. And she'd do it.
Maybe
and then
your
it
penis fingers just brush along her cheek, though, while you're putting it on.
Exactly. She's used to it at that point. But word of mouth spread the Wii, and that would be what would have to happen here. I don't know if it's what we talk about. You don't understand PlayStation VR. You don't understand VR in general, how cool it is, until you put it on your head and you're in that world. So all the commercials in the world aren't going to drive home that message. You, being the educated gamer who listens to shows like these, who watches gaming conferences, you pick it up, you play it, and then you start spreading it word of mouth.
Yeah, I personally think that they could have something really special on their hands here. I mean, those figures indicate that they're going to outsell their competitors pretty significantly, and that makes sense. And this is, again, we go back to this all the time about what Lauren Lanning said to us very astutely 2 years ago, and he was like, PlayStation actually is best positioned to win this race because of the install base of the PlayStation 4, which was much more modest at that time than it is now. I don't think it will ever be Wii. So Wii sold 102 million units or something like that, and everything came packed in, and it was cheap. It was affordable even at the time it came out. The thing about VR and PlayStation VR specifically, it launched on the 13th, which was a Thursday. I was gone Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and just got back actually like an hour ago before we recorded the show. And what I really was delighted to see was almost, and again, it's anecdotal, but almost unanimous praise for it in my Twitter mentions and elsewhere. I
haven't seen. That's what I was expecting to. We said before, leading up to this, I was excited to see people get in their hands, and if their expectations were set correctly, and they were. I haven't seen people being like, "This looks like shit. This isn't cool."
Yeah, I mean, and we're talking about scores of tweets. And again, anecdotal, a very small,
of course,
pool of people. But nonetheless, I was very happy to see that, because I really do believe, I understand people. First of all, I understand hesitation with anything that can be conceived as a gimmick, right? I totally get that, and I also understand the hesitation of people spending more money, inserting more coin basically into the situation when you have a console already. This is the same argument we made with PlayStation 4 Pro and all other things, where it's like, do you really want to spend more money for something that's kind of incremental in that case? But here, I don't think it's incremental at all. I actually think that this is a totally new way to play, and I think people are finally getting it, and it seems like people are super impressed. And one of the cool things I saw was very similar to what I experienced with my girlfriend, and other people experiencing, is like my mom or my girlfriend or my boyfriend, whoever it is that unit wasn't for. They're sending pictures to us and all these kind of things. Look at them. Like,
lots of moms and VR unit videos were sent to me, and that's awesome.
It's great. Weird, it's awesome. The democratization of games is great. I hate mobile gaming because I feel like it's predatory. I feel like it's generally garbage. I mean, there's examples of it not being garbage. I know you're really liking that thing that where you make bets.
Sparkade. Gamescast. You can check it out.
And Monument Valley and all these Plants vs. Zombies. There are examples, right? A broken clock's right twice a day.
There's needles in the haystack.
Right, exactly. But here, I feel like this is a solid democratization of games for people that aren't in the games, because it's actually fucking good, Yeah. And like I said, this is just the first step. I can't imagine where we're going to be with this technology in 5 or 10 years. We're in the Pong era.
Yeah.
It's really amazing to think about what happens even when we get to Coleco and Atari 2600, nonetheless, when we get to NES and SNES.
It's similar to what you always talk about when we talk about history of gaming and how, PlayStation and Nintendo and all these people were making the first 3D games for N64 and PlayStation, right, in vacuums. And it wasn't until they came together at E3, right, and saw what everybody else was doing that they kind of got what was going on. I love that we're living that in VR, where you're jumping in all these different VR games and everybody has a little tweak on how you move and how you control and what exactly are we teleporting, and even if we are teleporting, how does that work and how much head movement and to see everyone get in that space and hey, this is what we do, and everybody start learning from each other. That's how you're going to get those evolutionary leaps and those giant changes and into the games that, to your point, in 5, 10, 15 years, if it's all still going the way it is and it doesn't blow up in the launch pad here, you're playing games that are seamless and are what you want out of that experience.
It's gonna be great. I keep your experiences coming. Let us know what you think. Hopefully the games don't kind of slow to a trickle. I really do think that, people are at where's the killer app and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, that can be said. I think maybe Resident Evil or something like that might be the killer app next year.
VirtualRealPorn.com.
But I also feel like we can't look at it through that particular lens. To me, for instance, Resogun is a killer app on PS4, but a lot of people wouldn't look at it like that because you can beat the game in a half an hour. But fuck, man, Super Hypercube, Batman. I mean, I know these are shorter, smaller experiences. Eve Valkyrie may be a little more meaty. Obviously, Riggs. More meaty experience.
I'm happy with how many people, though, with Batman in particular, have hit me up to say what you said the expectations correctly, and the game's actually exceeded it with the Riddler challenges. With this, I get what you were saying. I've enjoyed it.
So yeah, keep it coming. I hope you guys are really enjoying it. I'm so pleased and so happy that so many people seem to be enjoying it, and I'm pleased and happy that it's just out there in the wild, so we can stop talking to a captive audience and more and instead say
have the experiences they're having.
Yeah, and exactly. Now we can all share it together. I think that's really cool. You guys, I think a lot of you guys realize we haven't been bullshitting you. Number 4. The PlayStation blog has revealed the best-selling games on the PSN for the month of September. Remember that this only counts digital sales and not sales at retail.
Remember?
The top 10 best-selling games on PS4 for the month in order are NBA 2K17, FIFA 17, Madden 17, NHL 17, The Last of Us Remastered, Battlefield Hardline, Destiny, Rocket League, Overwatch, and Minecraft. The top 10 best-selling games on PS3 for the month. This should say PS3. It says PS4. We almost did the list twice, Greg, and that would have been really disastrous. Where's my mouse? My monitor's so dim that I can't even see the cursor. There it is.
Is this because you're installing all your drivers?
Yeah, I gotta install them. Top 10 best-selling games on PS3 for the month in order. Pro Evolution Soccer 2017, FIFA 17, which is interesting. So FIFA 17 outsold by Pro Evo. The Last of Us, Minecraft, Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Warfare, Catherine, Grand Theft Auto 5, Mortal Kombat Complete Edition with a K. Need for Speed Most Wanted, and Madden 17. The top 10 best-selling games on Vita for the month in order are Digimon Story, Cyber Sleuth, God Eater 2, Rage Burst, Darkest Dungeon, Sword Art Online, Hollow Fragment, Assassin's Creed 3, Liberation, Child of Light, The Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel, God Eater Resurrection, Minecraft, and The Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel 2.
I felt like Darkest Dungeon would have been higher. How many did it come out super late? Is that the problem?
Maybe, I don't know. Also, the sales could have been really compelling as well.
Sure, I know, but I feel like when there's a new game, most Vita kids
it must have been late. It must have been late, actually. And just thinking about I can give you the answer right now.
Can you? Do you have that kind of information at your fingertips?
I got a code for it on September 27th, which I think is the day it came out or the day before it came out. So actually, that's pretty impressive sales when you think about it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where is the document? There it is.
Where's that docket?
And then the top 10 best-selling PlayStation classics for the month in order are Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, Bully, The Warriors, Ape Escape 2, Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Saga 2, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Saga, Mega Man Legends, Toy Story 2, and Hot Shots Tennis.
Hell yeah, Hot Shots Tennis!
Call of Duty and Destiny dominated both PS4 and PS3's DLC lists. This isn't PlayStation news per se, but it's relevant. It pertains to PlayStation, so I asked if I should put it on, and you said that you think it's relevant. Number 5, for the first consecutive 3-month period since PS4 and Xbox One launched in the fall of 2013, Xbox One has outsold PlayStation 4 in the United States. That means July, August, and September were Xbox One dominant months, bolstered by the launch of Xbox One S. There's some conjecture that folks are waiting for PlayStation 4 Pro, hence PS4 sales issues, but that's highly unlikely for most consumers completely ignorant of Pro's existence, with the recent launch of PlayStation 4 Slim as well. Congratulations to Microsoft really turning it around, but that's the first 3-month consecutive period in the States, the biggest market in the world for video games, where it was outsold. PlayStation was actually outsold by its competitor. I don't think there's anything to worry about. I think a lot of people are saying waiting for Pro. I think that's not true.
I think it's just Slim is finally attractive. It's an affordable console. They have gears. Things are happening. Why wouldn't you want to get on board?
Xbox One S, obviously, really, really nice console.
Yeah.
I just got the Gears of War one myself from our friends at Microsoft, and so. It's funny because I don't use Xbox One often. I use it a few times a year.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I know I'm speaking, preaching to the choir here, the PlayStation podcast. We've developed this PlayStation audience, but man, the user interface on Xbox One is just trash, just fucking trash.
It's cluttered. There's a lot of clutter.
I just can't believe how complicated it is. I know we have muscle memory with PlayStation or whatever. We had to learn
that's
PS4.
a big part of it. That always seems like it's a big part.
It's not that big part of it, because I remember when we got PS4s before they came out, it was like we had to relearn it, and it took a few minutes, and then you had to kind of slowly get into it. I'm like, where is that? I just don't understand why there's so much
PS4 printer settings
on here. What can't you find?
My printer settings on PS4.
That doesn't exist on PS4.
Oh, thank God. Thank God they got rid of that.
Number 6. Word is PlayStation is using internal first-party resources to make a handful of mobile games.
Yay!
Japanese newspaper Nikkei reports that, quote, Sony plans to ready 5 or more smartphone games for release around late March 2018, targeting Japan and other parts of Asia. Sony Interactive Entertainment, which is now the PlayStation parent company, will create new offerings based on popular PlayStation series. Mobile games arm ForwardWorks will handle distribution. Some older games that cannot be played on the latest hardware will be revived. Games may be linked to consoles as well. Titles in development will likely be announced by year-end. So that's the most interesting sentence to me. Some older games that cannot be played on the latest hardware will be revived.
Flow.
So it could be like medieval, or like what IP are you looking at here? Could it be something as deep as Colony Wars or something like weird? If they're going to pull out something.
Colony Wars out there.
That's actually something I could probably play on a touchscreen.
Sure, but I feel like if you're PlayStation right now, I have to feel this is motivated by Nintendo to some extent. The success they've seen so far.
I'm sure. I think they've been open about that.
Then they want to. They would definitely. I think they're going to want to bring in their biggest people. I wouldn't mind. Some kind of fucking another Uncharted's Endless Runner that came out earlier with Uncharted 4. That's out there. Do something similar to that. Do something with Infamous. Do something with Sackboy. We're always talking about Sackboy, right? That he lives outside of Little Big Planet as a mascot for PlayStation. Do something goofy with him. Something cute to get kids out there. Some touch 3 Sackboy game. Don't get me wrong.
Don't touch Sackboy.
No, touch Sackboy. Rub him. He's
Rub Sackboy.
Corduroy and knit. These aren't things I want necessarily. PlayStation Mobile was a great idea. They shuttered it, and now it's back. It's something else.
Yeah, they're always seem to be chasing someone with this shit. If you have the first-party resources that are dedicated to mobile games and it doesn't seem like it's even Western focused, then more power to you. But I think it's notable. I don't think as I tweeted last week, I think that's somewhat dumb to chase that market. That's not what PlayStation's heritage is. Nintendo is trying to change its heritage because its heritage is eroding rapidly. Well, I shouldn't say its heritage. Its heritage is fucking awesome games. It just doesn't really focus on the great hardware anymore. And we'll see what NX is, but it seems like it makes sense for the loser of the 3 companies right now, and I'm not trying to call it, you understand what I'm saying, to refocus their energies on something else. It doesn't really make sense in my mind for Sony to focus on mobile gaming yet. Sony didn't take a gambit by focusing on VR when no one else is, and that seems like it's going to work for them. So there's money to be made.
Toro, Parappa the Rapper. That was some games you're going to see.
Yeah, there you go. Number 7. The 3rd episode of Telltale's Batman series has an official release date, and per Telltale's usual trend, the release date is soon. Episode 3, entitled New World Order, will come out on October 25th and will be available on PlayStation 4 as well as other platforms.
That's the NWO song. Oh, I can't wait. Loved episode 2. Very, very excited to see where episode 3 goes.
Number 8. If you're still playing Final Fantasy XIV on PlayStation 3, we have good news and bad news. The bad news is that PS3's version of Final Fantasy XIV will no longer be supported as of the summer of 2017, when the Stormblood expansion is launched. The good news is that Sony and Square Enix are partnering up to offer players, quote, a free upgrade to the PS4 version, end quote, according to GameSpot, though there aren't any firm details available on this plan. Still, it's something to keep an eye on if you're playing on PS3, as your days on the console are numbered. And I tweeted out last week, or maybe put on Instagram or somewhere, that I finally took my PS3 off my entertainment center and put it away to make room for the dock for the PSVR that we got. Just not enough room for all this stuff. And I haven't turned on my PS3. I haven't played a PS3 native game since I was at IGN. And I've turned it on a couple times to play like PS1 games like Castlevania or something like that. Mm-hmm. But Tales of Exilia 2 was actually the last PS3 game I played. So this thing's just sitting there for no reason. So I put it away.
You gonna melt it? We should melt it.
Melt it, make bullets, which I'll then kill you with. Wow. Wouldn't that be ironic?
I guess.
And a little violent and unnecessary.
Not a little. That's not. No, I think it's more. I think it's more violent than ironic.
I'll shoot you a little very nicely. It won't be that violent. Yeah, it was sad to put it away. It has the Podcast Beyond 200 cover on it. Still has my PS3 Slim. So good night to you,
Sweet Prince.
Number 9. Good news, Danganronpa nerds. Developer Spike Chunsoft is working on bringing Cyber Danganronpa VR to the West. It's currently available in Japan, but Spike Chunsoft tweeted out on its English language Twitter account that the company is, quote, working to bring it to the West, end quote. Hopefully we'll have more information soon.
You excited?
It's available on PS Plus, I think, for free in Japan right now.
You can get it if you get the Hong Kong version, you can get it with English.
I hear it's very small, like a very short, like, not, yeah. But, yeah, it's cool. I get a nice little tease. I think it makes sense for them to start teasing things as Danganronpa 3, I think, approaches.
You know what you should get?
Quickly.
I'm putting in the request right now to Toasty Stickers, Flaming Toast. You should get a Mama Kuma skin for your PlayStation VR unit. So then you'd have the half black, half white, the crazy eye, the normal eye.
That'd be nice.
There you go.
I like that. Number 10. Capcom's initiative to re-release Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6 on current-gen consoles in anticipation of next year's Resident Evil 7, which we mentioned earlier, appears to have been successful. Resident Evil's official Twitter account notes that the re-release trilogy has shipped 1.5 million copies worldwide, a great number for a trio of old games, though they are selling for $20 each, which is surely helping demand as well. So congratulations to Capcom for that.
Good job.
Also important to note, shipped does not mean sold, but as we often say, they do not typically, these big companies that know what they're doing don't typically manufacture games
After that ET debacle, they're a little bit better at forecasting.
Which happened, 34 years ago. So hopefully everyone learned from that. And finally, number 11, this one's for you. Oceanhorn, the unabashed, somewhat shameless clone of The Legend of Zelda, has sold 1 million copies across PS4, Xbox One, PC, and smart devices. This serves as a reminder that the game is also coming to Vita at some point in the future. We talked about Oceanhorn. I think it's so shameless that it actually is too much.
But you enjoyed it.
It's fine. I hope that there's some sort of cross save because I don't really want to play it on PlayStation 4.
That's why I stopped playing on PlayStation 4. I was like, oh, cool, coming to Vita, I'll wait.
So anyway, congratulations to them. Oceanhorn is coming to Vita, or at least they tweeted out a picture of it running on Vita. Whether or not they've confirmed that, I guess you can kind of read into it. Believe it or not, I don't know when the last time this happened or if it ever happened. There is no wrap up this week, so there's no release date smorgasbord as we usually do. So that's it for the news.
But that breaks my brain. We should just stop the show.
I'm fine with that. The Jets play soon, and I'd like to
get
hunker down and get the tissue box out, not to masturbate, but to cry with.
Okay.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Who are they playing tonight?
The Cardinals.
Oh, yeah, you fucked. Colin, I can't wait to play Oceanhorn on the Vita, but God only knows when that's going to happen unless they announce it in the time between we publishing this show. If I want to know, it's coming to the digital mom and grop shops and sometimes the brick and mortar mom and dops. Where do I go?
Oh, jeez, I don't even know what the hell that means. You go to the official upcoming list of PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, PlayStation VR, and sometimes PSP software by the Kind of Funny co-founders. Batman.
T-Bone Taylor writes in and says, "Hi, Colin and Greg. I write to you from the airport departure lounge waiting for my flight to Vita Island. Although I worry that I'm a bit late. Anyhow, after Colin finishes reeling off the list of upcoming software spiel every week, I find myself singing along when you do your little do. What the hell is that? What the hell is that melody? I have it in my head all day every Tuesday. If I know what it is, I might be able to leave this jingle purgatory and get on with my platinum grind. Respect always, T-Bone." It's
T-Bone!
T-Bone!
Reminds me of George.
Yeah, exactly. T-Bone, we made it up on Beyond, and then we just stole it like we stole pretty much this entire show. So I don't think it ever started anywhere other than just me doing that and Clement's doing it, and then we all did it. And then just it got done for 381 episodes.
And here we are. Depressed and sad.
You remember Ryan Clements?
Vaguely. He actually tweeted or texted. We had a little text thing going on with him last week. It was nice to hear from him. He's a dad.
That doesn't sound right.
He's busy. Batman Return to Arkham comes to PlayStation 4 digital and retail. Yeah. Return to Arkham and experience two of the most critically acclaimed titles of the last generation, Batman Arkham Asylum and Batman Arkham City, with fully remastered and updated visuals. Batman Return to Arkham includes the comprehensive versions of both games and includes all previously released additional content.
Hooray! I'm having a lot of fun enjoying Arkham Asylum. I'm not as gung-ho to go back to Arkham City because I feel like I've played that more recently. I mean, I played them both, obviously reviewed them both for IGN, but Arkham City still seems fresh in my brain. But Arkham Asylum, I'm happy to be back with.
I never beat Arkham City. Battalion Commander comes to Vita digital. It's out the 20th, so that is a Thursday release. The motherland needs you again. Some strange activity is detected in the north, so grab your guns, rockets, and grenades and secure the territory. Battalion Commander is a fun military arcade game where you can play with a whole squad. About face. March. Give me a high five. Battlefield 1. PS4 digital retail out the 21st. So that is a Friday release since it is a worldwide release, I assume. You can start playing it on the 18th, though, which is the day this podcast release for early enlisters. It says, experience the dawn of all-out war in Battlefield 1. Discover a world at war through an adventure-filled campaign or join in epic multiplayer battles with up to 64 players. Fight as infantry or take control of amazing vehicles on land, air, and sea and adapt your gameplay to the most dynamic battles in Battlefield history. Really looking forward to playing the campaign. I do like the vignettes. The idea that you're going to kind of jump in and out of different campaigns, different places of the world, different times throughout the 4-year war, World War I, Great War. We'll see how it all turns out. I'm sure we'll talk about it next week, as well as on the Gamescast. The Bug Butcher comes to PS4 digital.
That sounds like a Vita game.
The Bug Butcher is an intense action shooter wrapped in stylistic 2D art and smeared with juvenile humor, where timing and fierce reflexes are paramount in protecting your fragile, squishy body. The gameplay has an extremely simple core mechanic that is easy to understand but hard to master. Plus, who doesn't love a universe where you wield a beefy arsenal of military-grade weaponry? Exist Archive, The Other Side of the Sky, comes to PS4 and Vita, digital and retail. Exist Archive, The Other Side of the Sky is an RPG where Kanata and various others have been imbued with pieces of the dark god Yamatoga's soul and are sent to Protolexa for reasons unbeknownst to them. Battle enemies and the armies of Chaucer as you search out your other teammates, complete quests and side events, and learn the truth of why you have been chosen.
What the fuck does any of that mean?
Hopiko comes to PS4 digital.
Right.
The evil nanobite virus is out. Gaming is over. It's time to hook up your power gloves and save your Hopiko brothers. Hopiko is an intense speed run platformer where you get to save gaming. Jump from platform to platform, avoiding death, exploiting shortcuts, and ripping through hundreds of handcrafted levels.
It was literally 3 years ago. We made the joke that Knob Switch could be a game. You just look in a room, you find things. We're literally at the point that it's just gibberish now. There's nothing. We can't look up and say, "Oh, but do it Lightbox." No, that's a developer. Wheel Wall. No, that can't. You know, I mean, now we're just like a Hobiko. Just random sounds being put together.
Fan floor. The Jackbox Party Pack 3 comes to PS4 digital. The threequel to the party game phenomenon features the deadly quiz show Trivia Murder Party, the Say Anything sequel Quiplash 2, the surprising survey game Gaspionage, the T-shirt Slugfest TKO, and the sneaky trickster game Fakin' It. Use your phones or tablets as controllers and play with up to 8 players plus an audience of up to 10,000. I like the Jackbox games a lot. And what I really like about them is the accessibility of them, the really clever kind of use of the phone or tablet. For people that haven't played them, basically what happens is you can play them natively, I think, but if you want to play with multiple people, some of these games like where you're drawing and stuff like that, you basically go on your iPhone or your iPad, go to a certain URL, type in the code that the game gives you that tethers you to that particular game, and then you use your phone or your tablet.
I think it's any smart device, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's pretty cool. Well, phone or tablet, what's another smart device?
Well, you said originally iPhone or iPad.
Yeah, well, who uses Android devices?
Stupid
The
Kevin.
Keeper of Four Elements comes to Vita, digital, out the 20th. This is a Thursday release. The Dark Lord invaded the Mystic Island to uncover the secrets of ancient magic and use it for his evil deeds.
Yeah,
but the island has a powerful protector, a wise monk wielding the power of 4 elements. Rise to the island's defense using the elemental towers and devastating spells, which can fend off any possible enemy. Don't let the hordes of darkness discover the secret of the island.
Don't let them. You're a big fan of Islands of Secrets.
I have my own island of secrets with a prison with a lot of people in it.
Yeah.
Lego Harry Potter Collection comes to PS4 digital and retail. The Lego Harry Potter Collection brings years 1 through 4 and years 5 through 7 to PS4 for the first time, with both top-selling games remastered on one disc. This compilation unites the creative prowess of Lego and the expansive world of Harry Potter. Harry Potter. With an exciting journey full of spellcasting, potion making, puzzle solving, lessons, dueling, and much more for players of all ages to enjoy. I like that. With the exciting journey full of spellcasting, potion making, puzzle solving, lessons, dueling, and much more. Just kind of buried that interesting.
Yeah, kids love school, right? I haven't played this version, but I reviewed them both when I was at IGN. They were both great games, so
I'm sure. Mordheim City of the Damned comes to PS4 digital. Play the first video game adaptation of Games Workshop's tabletop game Mordheim. Set in the Warhammer world's decimated Empire City, Mordheim City of the Damned is a turn-based tactical game where you lead war bands into bloody and lethal skirmishes. The game blends RPG elements, fast-paced tactical combat, and intricate unit customization in a time wrought by chaos and rivalry, where only the strongest survive. Pixel Gear comes to PlayStation VR digital. It's out the 20th. It's a Thursday. Pixel Gear is a pixel-style VR shoot-'em-up with a variety of humorous cartoon monsters and ghosts as enemies. Use your skills and weapons to defeat them, gain energy, and apply your skills wisely to slow down time and load up infinite bullets. Observe the environment carefully and keep on shooting in the pixel battlefield.
Love is a battlefield.
Sports Bar VR comes to PSVR digital. Bringing the virtual pub experience to your living room. Sports Bar VR is the ultimate social experience available on PSVR, featuring an awesome set of bar games and an incredible pool simulation, including 8-ball, 9-ball, Killer, and many more Q Sports.
That, not a great description, but I've seen the trailer. I remember when they announced that on the PlayStation blog. It looked cool. Pool. I think you got some skee ball in there. It's everything you'd expect out of a little sports bar. Except the sports, or the beer, or the wings, or the waitresses, or the mean bartender, or the mean guy at the bar.
And finally, Super Dimension Neptune versus Sega Hard Girls comes to PlayStation 4 and Vita.
I love a good hard girl.
Digital and retail. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's only Vita. So Super Dimensions Neptune versus Sega Hard Girls is only on Vita, digital and retail. An ancient war between Sega hard girls and goddesses ravaged the world. The adventurer, IF, journeys across the wasteland and finds the Grand Library, a facility that grants her the power to travel back in time. Will she be able to use this power to unite the warring factions and restore peace to the world?
I doubt it.
And that is it for the games. Pick of the week? Got to be Battlefield, I assume. Batman as well.
I was going to say you got Batman on there.
And Hapiko. Even though we don't know anything about it, and if it's any good. Also, shout out to Exist Archive, The Other Side of the Sky. Also, shout out to Super Dimensions Neptune versus Sega Hard Girls. That's it.
Colin, topic of the show.
Tots.
I want to have a little discussion with you. What do you want out of the next Red Dead?
I'm getting scared with what they're going to do with this game.
Now, can I ask, are you scared because the first piece of art is a bunch of guys walking at the thing?
Yeah, but what makes me scared too is Grand Theft Auto Online.
Yeah.
When Strauss Zelnick, who is the CEO of Take-Two, basically said, like, we are going to actually have to kill that game before it dies naturally. And he said that, and that's exactly what he said, but he said in his own words. That to me was a sign, combined with the fact that we never got single player DLC for Grand Theft Auto 5 and are never going to because the game's been out for 3+ years now. And Red Dead already had its multiplayer component. I fear that this is going to be something like Destiny. And I don't mean MMO FPS. What I mean is like something that you could play, like The Division. Like you could play it by yourself, but it's really not meant to be played by yourself, and you're not going to get the full experience by yourself. And that's really going to bum me out. And I hope that is wrong. I think that would be smart of them because that's what the trends say they should do to maximize the amount of money, the amount of capital that they're actually going to make. But what my hope is that the single player is ancillary, similar to Red Dead Redemption, and that the single player campaign is a robust thing that you play by yourself. And I just don't know if that's.
So you're afraid it's going to go? I think it's too late. Red Dead, I think, would have been so far in development that by the time GTA saw its success and then GTA Online saw its success, that they have to be thinking about not the next game being Red Dead, but the next game after that, which you assume is GTA 6 or whatever. That's when I think you see maybe them go a Destiny way, a Division way. I think this is going to be very traditional in the way of here's your Red Dead, here's your single player story, and then here is the Red Dead multiplayer mode, which will be more like GTA Online for sure, more than what we saw with Red Dead Redemption's multiplayer thing. But I don't think you're going to see them drop single player at all.
I hope not. I mean, it's all pipes. It's all
pipes.
It's all kind of Destiny can be played by yourself. Division can be played by yourself. So you could say that those games are single player. I played the Division for 40 hours by myself.
Yeah.
Never played that game for 1 second with anyone. And I liked
1 second because people jumped in, right, and you kicked them out.
But I kicked them out. Yeah. First, I tried to shoot them, but I don't think you can do that to your own players. So to me, I feel like. What do I want out of it? I want them to give me the game that they want to give me, even if it's the kind of game I'm describing. But it's what I fear is actually more paramount in my mind right now than what I want, because I just don't want the trends are inexorable, right? Like the inexorable march towards persistence. If it's not outright multiplayer, but a persistent world basically that is affected by everyone. That's a thing that's happening. Like in a lot of big games, the biggest games are doing that. Whether it's League of Legends, whether it's Dota, whether it's Destiny, whether it's the Division. According to Ubisoft, is the biggest selling game of the year.
Yeah.
These Battlefield's coming out, Call of Duty's coming out. Obviously, these are multiplayer games of a more traditional sense. I just feel like we will always have these single player experiences, but I also feel like there's a march towards this movement. There's a movement that I feel like is going to ultimately alienate me, and I don't mind the Destinies and the Division, like all these games that I don't have.
They're not necessarily your type of games.
But Red Dead is my type of game, and I love Red Dead Redemption, and so I hope that the Red Dead 3 is the game I want it to be. But I think it's a logical fear, and I think it's a fear that's likely to play out, that there's going to be some heavy multiplayer.
Well, see, that's more my thing. I don't think the image, is 7 guys, right, walking at the screen or whatever, doesn't concern me in the way of, okay, it's going to be an online only game. It's going to be like GTA Online, but I could totally see it being some kind of co-op thing where, you know what I mean? Where we could have, rather than it be, I'm in a persistent world, it's me and a million other guys on our mission or whatever. What if it is you can have a team of up to 7 people come with you and do this, and you run through your story or whatever? Then it's a little bit like what we saw before in Red Dead, but then it in terms of multiplayer online stuff, but then it is anchored in a story, right? You leave my game or whatever, and it's still just me then going through my posse gets smaller, right? You're posseing up and doing that. My concern based on GTA's, I'm looking forward to have it being one character again. Like, it's not that I hated the jumping around of GTA, but in terms of looking back at previous GTA's, I think I liked being one person more than I liked being Michael, Trevor, and Franklin, right? Like, I hope that I am one character here, and that's what Red Dead is.
I hope so too. The trends go beyond just what Rockstar's publishing and Rockstar's development. I should say development, they don't publish, but the development of these Rockstar games. Take-Two owns 2K as well, and you can see a movement towards whether it's Evolve, which was a multiplayer-centric game, whether it's Battleborn.
I mean, they're already licking their wounds on those is my concern too. Now, granted,
but they're not licking their wounds on Grand Theft Auto. They're making exorbitant amounts of money on that game.
Yeah,
that game is not. Grand Theft Auto 5 is not only one of the best-selling games of all time. I think number 3. It's sold so well. It's like in Minecraft territory. That's insane.
Yeah,
it's also a $60 game. Minecraft isn't. Or it was. I don't know if they're still charging $6 for Grand Theft Auto 5, but the game has taken such a turn where no one's talked about the campaign in Grand Theft Auto 5 since 2013. The Grand Theft Auto Online is where it's at. That's where they're making their money. And I wonder if Strauss Zelnick was kind of talking a little bit about, we have to kill this game maybe for this game.
Yeah.
And they're not going to kill Grand Theft Auto now, but eventually these two games persisting at the same time, when they were going to look at it and maybe be like in 2 years, be like, well, we're making all this money. We're constantly supporting this game, but at the same time, we make much more money making these multiplayer-centric games.
The thing about it, though, is I think
the campaign.
Looking at it and why I hope neither of our worst-case scenarios are true, right, is that it is Rockstar. They can do what the fuck they want. You know what I mean? They are the Naughty Dog, right? Of like, we have a vision for what this is and we're going to go. Do they want to? I don't think they want to make the next Red Dead look just like GTA on what we're talking about, right? In terms of, for me, having the jumping around characters or whatever, we just did that. We don't need to do that. We don't need another game doing that. And then hopefully all right, GTA Online is its thing. We don't need to try to replicate that necessarily right off the bat, because then they would be just copying themselves in a way.
I hope so.
Marching off in a
direction. My assumption about what you said about Rockstar's kind of carte blanche attitude is probably true, and you have to assume it's true, but I don't know that. We know
those
that
Hauser bros ain't getting pushed around.
We know that about Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
I find it somewhat hard to believe that they didn't want to do single player DLC, for instance. I just find that hard to believe. They have Grand Theft Auto 4 was supported by single player DLC that was, especially with Ballad of Gay Tony, but also Lost of the Damned, where those were even better than the original game.
Yeah.
Ballad of Gay Tony was fucking awesome. And I have a really hard time believing that they had no plan for single player DLC with Grand Theft Auto 5. So what I'm wondering in that term is, they're funded by a big publisher, a big company, and maybe they don't have we know that through Naughty Dog, both the mouths of Naughty Dog and through Sony, that they are basically able to do what they want to do to a degree, I'm sure.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know if that's the case with Rockstar. I don't know. The Hauser brothers obviously have extraordinary power, very talented people. I mean, Rockstar is just an extraordinarily talented group of people at all of their studios. And I fear, I'm excited about Red Dead because Red Dead Redemption was so goddamn good. It was so good. I mean, that's one of the great games on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. But at the same time, I do fear that, I don't want to say I fear that they're going to follow the trends. Following the trends makes sense from a business perspective. We're a business. We have to do a similar kind of thing. But I hope that they still speak to gamers like me. And at the very least, like with Grand Theft Auto 5, hopefully they speak to both. So that's my hope.
In terms of hopes and what they do and following the trends, I think Rockstar is a company that believes in themselves to make the trends. You know what I mean? I don't think they look at Grand Theft Auto Online necessarily as chasing someone else, right? I mean, there's a lot of original ideas in there that are the reason it's so successful, the reason so many people are drawn to it.
Yeah, people love it, and it's making a ton of money, and it really does say a lot about their talent and their ability to deliver a unique experience, like you said, that maybe people didn't realize that they wanted, that what they needed when their own CEO comes out and says, this thing's not going to die.
Yeah.
But we can't do this forever. So we'll see what happens. I think we're going to see. The thing is that this is a little piece of history. I mean, by the time this goes up, this might already be outdated. Yeah. So do forgive us for that out there. But
my whole thing is, I think even if something comes out, I doubt we're going to be that. Think about the first GTA 5 trailer. All they showed was Michael, right? The discussion's still there. I doubt that the first Red Dead trailer, let's say it goes up tonight or tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., 3 hours before we post this. I doubt it's going to be here's the answer to every one of your questions. It's an online only thing, and this is how it's going. If it is different people shooting the gun and focusing on them, are you playing one and I'm playing one, or is it we're hopping around like GTA was, or how's it all break down like that? I think there's a lot of questions there.
So my hope, all right, so the perfect scenario for me, I don't want to say no online because I think that hurts people that want to play online, but but totally segmented experiences, a very robust 30-hour campaign. Obviously beautiful new environments, a lot of different characters. I don't really need a cast of I don't want multiple playable characters, for instance. I want one character.
Yeah, I want one person's story. I want another John Marston story.
Exactly, and
not necessarily John. You know what I mean?
And my well, it couldn't be. Well, it could be, I guess.
I know.
Depending on when it takes place, but my whole thing with this particular thing is my I don't want to say my perfect game is no online. I don't think we're going to get that. I think it's almost impossible. But my perfect thing is 30-hour meaty campaign, a segmented kind of online that they can support, and this year. I mean, that would be my perfect thing.
That'd be awesome. What a game changer that would be if they actually did all the shit that we talk about all the time.
And I feel like there's only a few companies that can do it, and they're one of them. And so I think Valve is one of the companies that can do that.
And they
I
will
think,
for sure.
I think Rockstar is one of them, and I think Bethesda maybe is one of them, and I think that's probably pretty much it. Yeah. Except for like games outside of our sphere, like if Riot was like, we're doing X, Y, and Z, that would be a big deal to people that care about that shit. I don't. So within our console sphere, I think that those are the three companies that could probably do it, in addition to the first parties, although I don't think that would be very wise. So let's see. A November 18th release date for Red Dead 3 would be fucking awesome, and God help everyone else that's releasing a game this fall if that's the case.
Sure.
Because it's not only a money issue, it's a time issue. These games, Rockstar games, tend to suck us in.
And weeks on end, yeah.
And as Rockstar has, we've come a long way since Rockstar used to develop a lot of random games, like people forget State of Emergency. And Table Tennis and all these kinds of games. It's been a while since they really do focus on just two properties pretty much right now, and they go tit for tat. But these properties,
all that stuff's falling away.
These properties suck you in, man.
Yeah.
Like, Manhunt's gone, all these kinds of games are gone. Yeah, now it's Grand Theft Auto, and now it's presumably Red Dead. And so the reason I bring that up is because it seems like they are more focused on making these robust experiences that become like League of Legends or something. That's what you play.
Services.
That's what you play.
Yeah.
And Grand Theft Auto Online has certainly turned into that. People fucking play that game, man. And so I really do expect we're going to see something similar with Red Dead. Whether or not it looks a lot like that remains to be seen. That could be the reason why the game's taken so long as well. I mean, they might have been reactionary to that as that happened. By the time Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, Red Dead was presumably in development for 2 years at that point. So they could have moved around a little bit and changed things up. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited.
Where do you think, just spitballing, this is going to take place? Is this in a similar time frame? Is it before or after? I mean, spoilers for Red Dead Redemption, by the way. Okay? You have time to turn it off. Thank you very much.
Game also came out 6 years ago.
I know, but just throwing it out there. Is this going to take place after? You think is it have nothing to do with John Marston? Is it a prequel to John's story? Because when I first saw the guys, I was like, oh, this could be him and the gang back in the because the whole Red Dead Redemption's going out, trying to go after those guys and finish off what you started, kind of thing. This could be the prequel start of it, but then it also could be you're like Kevin had this theory that you're going to be, rather than the outlaw, you're going to be the sheriff. You're going to be off in it's another town. You just have a sheriff, and this is your posse going after whoever. It's a brand new story, and then of course so many people have said, is it going to pick up, where the story left, John's son or whatever going on, which would be interesting because so much time had passed. We were butting up against the Industrial Revolution. Things are happening over there.
It could be. So my hope is that it has nothing to do with Marston himself.
Yeah.
I think it would be anticlimactic for it to be a prequel simply because we have these questions about his character and his past, but we already know how it ends. And I know that's often the case with prequels, but I just don't think that story is nearly compelling enough to have
I agree with that.
The lead up to it. I think that the story itself was fine and the allusions to the past were fine. It could be Marston's son, but I also think that would be a mistake. I like the idea. For me, clearly it's in the Southwest, in Texas and in the Southwest. What I would like is for it to take place a little deeper, like during or after the Civil War. So not around the Mexican War really, but like what does that look like? Confederates were there, for instance, and could you tie that in somehow and have there's a lot of untold stories and a lot of untold history from that era in that place in the country, because we're so focused on what's going on in Virginia and what's going on in Pennsylvania and what's going on in all those places during the Civil War, and then Reconstruction is really focused on the Deep South and the Confederate States themselves and not the Confederate territories. So could you tell a story there? Probably. I don't know. I don't get any hints from the two pictures we've seen at all. Obviously, the first picture doesn't tell us anything at all, but the second picture does give us a little bit, and you can't tell based on the silhouettes what kind of gun they're holding, for instance, or like what kind of garb they have that might indicate this time or this place. And when it comes to the West, the Wild West, as we would, as we refer to it, I guess, kind of nomenclaturally. I know so little about that compared to the depth of history I know in other places in American history that someone probably listening, or a lot of people are probably listening to this that really know that history. They're like, oh, it could be this, and this from this area. And I'm like, I have no idea.
Could be Back to the Future 3.
It could be Back to the Future 3. So I respect that. I don't know, and I've never been interested in Western history. So I know as much. Remember, I probably just my natural inclination history. Maybe I know a little more than a normal person, but not that much more. So there are people out there that really know this that probably like nail it down. And I'm not able to do that. But I think that telling stories from a time period, in other words, tell a story from a time period in which geographically we have our minds in a different place. Our minds in 1865, our minds during Reconstruction in 1872 are in Washington, D.C. What's going on in Santa Fe?
Yeah.
Could be cool.
Yeah, could be. Colin?
Yes.
It's trophy time. What do you got for me this week?
So I've pulled up...
Pop, pop.
There we go. I pulled up a... Oh, that's not my password.
That's not his password. Too many
I pulled up
B's and boners.
5 games. Now, last week I told you Dragon Quest Builders trophies weren't live, but I think they were. I think that... So basically what happens is the game's trophies are the same in Japan as they are here. The guys at PSN Profiles have to ping the server again to update the language, and then they don't jump to the top of the list. So these trophies have actually been live for a while. And as I told you, I think that the trophy list seems easier than it is. So for PS4, PS3, and Vita, we didn't get in PS3, I don't think, in the States. 2 bronze, 10 silver, 7 gold, and a platinum.
Planet?
You basically get a silver trophy for beating each of the chapters. And then you get gold trophies for beating all the challenges. And as we said before, it seems like there are time-related challenges. And because of the peculiar and strange design choice of not including a quest list or a challenge log, and I don't really know why that is. I mean, that's just weird.
Yep.
And I think that that's a shitty design choice. I actually think it hurts the game, like demonstrably hurts the game. Because I like looking at those things. And Dragon Quest does that. I mean, look at Dragon Quest 9 for everyone that played on DS. There are a bajillion side quests. There are so many side quests in the game that they're numbered. They're literally numbered. This is side quest number 17. This is side quest number 130. And they have a whole thing of everything you have to do. And so I don't understand why that's not here. And then there are silver trophies for completing 10 blueprints, using the crafting station 500 times, defeating 2,000 monsters, smashing 3,000 objects, placing 3,000 objects, obtaining different accessories, learning different, and then golds for 50 recipes, 20 foodstuffs eaten, defeating 8 enemies in a single.
So just playing the stuff normally, you're going to run into a lot.
So
of
it seems like there are missable trophies. I'll wait for the trophy guide, but you guys can go to PS3 or PlayStationTrophies.org or whatever and kind of read about this, because there's some fear that you have that the time-related challenges,
I don't like that one bit,
are inherent. World of Final Fantasy comes out soon for PS4 and Vita. Those trophies are live now. 34 bronze, 12 silver, 2 gold, and a platinum. So there's a true ending. It appears reach the true ending. So it says there's a silver trophy that says the end with a question mark. Reached an ending. Turn those corners up is a gold trophy. Reach the true ending. So keep that in mind. Seems like there's a lot of bronze trophies for getting different story-related things out of the way.
Colin, I want
Yes.
to talk to you real quick about true endings. Is that okay?
Okay.
Isaac A. Peltz writes in to kindafunny.com/PSQ to get your question read, just like he did. Hey, guys.
Hey.
Let's keep it concise. I'm angry. I just finished Persona 4 Golden for the first time, and I was dissatisfied with the ending. I looked online, and it turns out there's 4 endings you can get. Now, I like paths that split off, but when I sink 60 hours into a game, and then it doesn't let me play the last quarter of the game because I didn't do something that I didn't know was important, you bet I'm pissed. My question is as such. Is it okay for developers to wall off something integral into a game with a completely optional sequence of events? Is it fair that I can sink so much time into a game just to face disappointment and sadness when they skip 4 months of the game just because I wasn't bros with one dude? Thanks, dudes. P.S. Gah! Isaac.
It is frustrating. So Mafia... and that's the game you said he was talking about?
Nope, Persona 4 Golden.
So I was looking at the trophies real quick for Mafia.
Yeah.
Because Mafia does a similar thing, and it's actually frustrating the shit out of people.
Yeah.
And it's not as complicated. So with Persona 4 Golden, as he was saying, that's a really tough platinum trophy. And I remember, back in the day talking to you about that and watching people kind of go after it. And it was a very impressive one to get. Mafia 3 came to mind with me as I was kind of perusing the trophies here, because there are your lieutenants, based on how you treat them, can turn on you at any time in the game, and this basically locks you out of a specific trophy. The problem is that it also locks you out of portions of the game. You get a different ending and so on and so forth, but you're locked in, so there's no way to go back to unless you make some clever saves in the cloud and then leave them alone. Like, there's really no way to to see it all in one playthrough, and that's the kind of shit I don't like.
Sure.
There should, like, I don't mind Mass Effect or something. I don't like these branching paths either, but when it locks you out of content, it locks you out of trophies and makes things more frustrating for you, I think that's fucking obnoxious, especially when we're talking about bronze trophies, and especially when we're talking about 1 or 2 bronze trophies.
Sure.
Persona 4 Gold, an older game, people should really keep an eye on that with Mafia as well, because if you treat your lieutenants all nicely and give them basically distribute your rackets to them evenly, then everyone's alive, and then you get a certain trophy at the end of the game, but then you miss the trophy for having them killed.
I hear you, and I'm with you for what you're saying with Mafia. I don't agree on Persona 4 Golden. Persona 4 Golden is a JRPG. It has a million save files for a reason, and I think the fact that if you're putting that much time into it and you care that much, I would think you would have looked at trophies, not for spoilers, because obviously there's plenty of ways to look at trophies and not see the ones that'll spoil content for you or whatever. I mean, PlayStationTrophies.org is great for that, but the ability to go through and understand there's different endings, and then if you're going to worry about it on that level, make multiple saves, understand where the breaking points are. It's the same reason in Dragon Quest right now, right, that I haven't jumped through that final portal, because I need to get in and do the research. I understand it pisses you off, but I think you could have done just a little bit of research. We talk all the time, right? When we start a game, the first thing we do is hop in and look at trophies, not to ruin the game for us, to see what's up in front of us. And if you did care this much about the story, for me, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Either you're playing the game and you're going to make these choices and you're going to see how they play out, and that's going to be the end of it, or you're playing this game and you want to know where possible roadblocks are, where possible barriers are, and make those saves when somebody tells you that you need to make a save here, or pay attention to that front.
Yeah, I agree. A little research goes a long way, especially with Persona 4 Gold. And that trophy, that platinum, and that experience is notorious. At this point.
Yeah, it'll break you.
It'll break you. Sword Art Online Hollow Realizations trophies are live for PS4 and Vita. 44 bronze, 6 silver, 2 gold, and 1 platinum. The reason that I wanted to bring this one up was for one reason only. There is a bronze trophy for beating the game with over 100 hours of playtime. Bronze trophy.
By that point, you're in it for the game and you're in it for the platinum. The bronze doesn't matter. It's just a trophy on your way to the platinum.
A game I know is very near and dear to your heart, Greg.
Tails?
Farming Simulator 17.
Fuck me.
2 bronze, 6 silver, 9 gold, and a platinum. In for the long hauls, reach 10 hours of playtime in a single save game. Breakneck bankruptcy is reach a negative balance on your very first day.
But I could do that.
Financial independence, silver, pay back an entire bank loan. Peak profits, own a bank account with 1 million in-game money. Help a fella out, complete a task for another farmer. Farmer's favorite, help each farmer at least once. Score a 3-point field goal in basketball, 3-pointer.
Oh, okay.
Find all 100 golden nuggets. Sounds like a collectible.
Them golden nugs?
And then some silvers and golds, depending. Harvest 10 hectares. Lumber, cut down a tree. Jack, cut down 50 trees. Cowboy, breed 20 cows. Sweet dreams, breed 30 sheep. Oink oink, breed 50 pigs.
Got it.
And finally, Battlefield 1's trophies are live. 16 bronze, 9 silver, 6 gold, and a platinum. So I was looking at this and I was distressed. For there are multiplayer trophies galore in Battlefield 1, and I was hoping that maybe they would take a hint specifically from Call of Duty, which has shied away from that in recent years by basically not making you go online for your trophies. Typically. Win one operation in multiplayer is a bronze. Using a bolt action rifle, kill an enemy scout in multiplayer is a bronze. Complete 25 squad orders in multiplayer is a bronze. The interesting thing is that they're divvying out 4 golds in multiplayer for reaching rank 2 for assault, medic, scout, and support, which doesn't seem like it would be that hard.
It seems like it'd be like 2 matches, right?
But I could be wrong, because a lot of these trophies don't seem to have, like for instance, counter sniper using a bolt action rifle, kill an enemy scout in multiplayer. 28.3% of people have that trophy on PSN profiles, yet no one has the scout enlistment trophy at rank 2 for scout. And it seems like only one person has it, 1.89% for medic, assault, and support. So who knows? Reach rank 1 with all 4 infantry classes in multiplayer is a silver. So interestingly, they're giving you a gold for each of those and a silver for getting all 4. Doesn't really make any sense.
I bet it's harder than we think it is. It must be no, that doesn't make any sense.
We'll find out. I'm going to jump in, because if it's doable, I'll play multiplayer for a night just to get those trophies, and then I can get the platinum. In terms of single player, it seems like there are 5 vignettes based on the trophies. So Friends in High Places, Nothing is Written, Through Mud and Blood, Avanti, Savoia, and The Runner seem to be the 5 trophies. You get bronze for beating each of those. And then there are codex entries in each of them that you can get. If you get them all, you get silver trophies for each of those. And then there are field manuals in each of them. And you get trophies for finding one and for finding all of them, and then challenges in the game. complete one challenge, complete 10 challenges, complete all challenges. And then there are some incidental ones. The one that I find the most interesting is Mightier Than the Shovel. Find the hidden cavalry sword and take down an enemy on the French countryside in the campaign. It's a trophy. So those are the trophies. Seem attainable. If the online ones are easy, they might be. They might not be. We're somewhat ignorant on that. And that is it for the trophies this week.
Drew writes in a question for trophy time over at kindafunny.com/PSQ. He says, "Hi guys, I noticed this week that D3T, the devs who ported Super Stardust Ultra to PS4, snuck in some new DLC trophies onto the list. These trophies require PSVR to complete. The completionist in me likes to keep my trophy profile at near 100%, but I can't afford a PSVR unit right now. As trophy hunters yourself, I would like to hear your opinion on this. Should devs release separate lists for games or DLC that require VR? The only precedent I know of something like this is when Media Molecule put out move-specific and Vita-specific DLC trophies for Little Big Planet 2. Cheers, Drew. P.S. I love you, but I feel the need to see other people. P.P.S. Shout out to my fellow Trophy Guide team members on PSN profiles." I don't mind, but I understand I'm not you. You're talking about your profile being near 100%.
Yeah.
It doesn't drive me crazy.
It drives me nuts.
So I have my DC Universe Platinum and then all these deals. But I have the Platinum and DC UO, right? But like 26% now of the trophies.
Yeah, I understand what he's saying because my overall completion has gone down to like 35%, and that annoys me.
Yeah.
To no end because we just play so many games and we have to move on. And I see these guys like him that like have these incredible completion rates of like 90, 95%. It's really, really awesome, 98%. So I understand why that would be maddening. Should they make an exception? I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem like the system allows for that. So unfortunately, this is going to injure you in some way.
The thing about it is I'd rather see, and I guess this might not even, you'd actually be able to correct me on this one, the Stardust VR stuff, you have to pay for that straight up, right? Is it like Volume Coda that's a free update?
I don't think it's free. I don't know for sure. I thought that it ran on Ultra, which is the PlayStation 4 version of Stardust, but I don't know.
Well, that's what he's making it sound like, so that would make sense. But yeah, I don't understand how that works then for...
Yeah, I don't understand. So what I'm saying is I don't understand the pay structure of that and all of this. Because like, for instance... similar to I think what he insinuated here is that like you get these things with free updates or paid updates or whatever, but typically not locked out by hardware. So
sure.
So I understand. What
I'm driving at is I think the benefit of Mike Bithell giving you Volume Coda for free is fine. It outweighs the negative part of having your trophies drop below 100% for that. I think the developers wanting to pay it forward and give content back makes sense.
Oh yeah, you can't blame them for that.
Yeah,
but at the same time, for someone like him,
I hear you.
He would probably rather pay $50 for that not to happen.
Sure, I understand. But I think, and then it's the back and forth of how that does work and how DLC works, and it does come down. I think it's more on PlayStation than it is on anybody. So it's something if you really do have a problem with, you can make it hurt to PlayStation. But I don't think they're going to listen. I think they know there's plenty of problems with trophies, and they're not usually quick to fix them. And so it sucks. And I hear why you would, but for me, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I understand both sides of the argument personally.
Yeah. Reader mail, Colin.
Maelstrom.
Mail call. Mr. Treasy writes in to kindafunny.com/PSQ and says, "Good morning, Colin and the guy from the suburbs of Chicago. The weirdest thing happened yesterday. I was getting through some of my backlog on PS4 when I received a message. Even stranger, the message was from PlayStation. I was being notified that my pre-order for The Last Guardian was being refunded. I checked my account and sure enough, the money had been put back into my wallet. Does this mean the game has been delayed again? I was never on the hype train for that game, thankfully, because of wise advice from you two over the years. But when I actually got a release date, I said, sure, why not? It looked interesting. Now, this is something the PSN does, which actually is paying it forward to you, the consumer. When a game gets delayed, I think it's 30 days. If it gets delayed a month past where it was supposed to be, they refund you the money, so you have a chance to either support it again or not support it at all.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a way. Yeah, it's never happened to me. The stuff I pre-order, I usually is when I'm not going to get a code, so I'll buy it at the last second. And then there was a gaff thread about it that I was checking in on.
Stop pre-ordering games. How's that?
No need. Well, he's not on the hype train though.
Doesn't matter. I just don't understand why people.
It doesn't make any sense. It
makes no sense at all.
He's like, I was never on the hype train.
I mean, if you want to have it preloaded, or whatever, but couldn't you literally do that like the day before if you wanted to, like after the embargo lifts and
Yeah.
Stop pre-ordering games, everyone. Stop giving them your money before they even give you a game.
Or do it for the sweet fanny pack. Colin, do you want to talk about motion sickness, PSVR v PS4 Pro, or Spider-Man?
Spider-Man. We haven't talked about Spider-Man in a while. Not that there's anything to say about it.
Ian Two-Step writes in and says, hello, Hello, good chaps. First time writing in smiley emoticon. With the new Spider-Man game coming out one day. But little info on what type of gameplay it will be. Would you like to see it be a big open world with Spider-Man doing missions, upgrading character, etc., or a story-driven game with set pieces and chapters and mild open-world elements? I would love to see it be a deep story with chapters and character upgrades, being that I don't know who would be sending Spider-Man on missions. And don't really want to just swing around listening to police chatter, giving you missions. Keep up the good work, everyone, especially Kev Dog. Ha 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 ha, he says. I don't know if he's laughing.
That is funny.
If he's, you're not doing good work or what, Kevin.
I think it's clearly an open world game, but I mean, that's what I've always assumed.
I assume that as well.
I don't think you need to have someone giving Spider-Man missions. It could be totally on him to do that. It'd be like, I see this thing happening, or I want to go do this, this, and this because this thing is happening and this thing is important or whatever. I don't think it necessarily has to be like Infamous, where you're getting, information
Somebody's
from
chattering into your ear about it.
I understand. I mean, I'm not a comic nerd. I don't know much about Spider-Man, so I understand that particular concern about like who's pulling the strings of Spider-Man. I guess that's interesting. That's an interesting thing I would have never thought about, and it's a valid complaint or a valid concern. But I assume it's open world, and I assume you're going to be upgrading your character and doing a ton of missions. I think it's going to be very much in the same vein as Sunset Overdrive.
And I think that's a good thing. That's the Spider-Man game I want. I've been thinking it would be the same way you're talking about it, right? Because I think they probably looked at what Beanox had done, and I'm not talking about the movie games that were received incredibly poorly, but Shattered Dimensions and then even Edge of Time or whatever, which had tons of problems. It wasn't great. Those were games that were, hey, here's the set piece. You're going through this. You're in this one area. How are you going to take it out and move on to the rest of it? I think people, and correct me if I'm wrong out there, right, in the comments below, have been wanting to get back to Spider-Man 2, the movie game, forever. And Ultimate Spider-Man was similar to that, but it wasn't what we wanted. Giving Insomniac that, having them do an open world game would be what I want. I want to swing around New York. And I think you're overthinking it a bit. Granted, you're right. I never stopped to be like, who would be giving Spider-Man missions? I'm sure it wouldn't be that hard to have a police scanner that you just patch it in that there's a police scanner going at all times. And anytime he accesses his phone, he's going to see what's happening here. Like, you know what I mean? Like little missions pop up that it's a whatever bank robbery over here. Shocker's doing this. Lizard's running wild up there. And like, it's going to be like every other game we play where there's in this theory. After
I voice Shocker, I'll let you guys know what he's.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Just immediately come out and blow the NDA. It would be the fact that there's these different things and there's story missions, there's non-story missions, and you go through and play. But it actually is an interesting idea of I hadn't thought about what if it wasn't Uncharted but for Spider-Man. But the problem is that Spider-Man is this free moving character, right? Like I want to swing around New York and feel that velocity. I don't like being dropped into smaller areas as you were with Shattered Dimensions, which is a fine game as you were with Edge of Time, and having to stay in these small, giant, whatever, cathedral ceiling, warehouses and stuff. I want to swing through the cities of New York. I want to find stuff.
It would be a complete waste. I think you're right. Spider-Man and New York City lend itself to open world completely and utterly. And when I don't have the experience and the heritage with those games like you do, that just is so obviously what the game's going to be because it has to be that way. And I think that's great. I think that's really, really fun. And it's, we haven't really thought about it in the sense that with Days Gone, with Spider-Man, with Horizon, like Sony's investing a lot of money in proprietary exclusive open world games.
People love open worlds.
And I think that's really neat. They haven't done that in a while since Infamous.
Yeah.
Really, I can't think of any other actually off the top of my head, but I'm a little fatigued. So who the hell knows?
Final question, Colin, comes from Colin.
Oh.
Colin says, hey guys, I got my PSVR yesterday. It is awesome, but I am susceptible to motion sickness. London Heist, Thumper, and Rez didn't cause me any issues. However, I got really sick almost instantly from rigs. I was fine for Rush of Blood until the faster sections. The last time a game made me this nauseous was when I tried to beat Mortal Kombat on my brother's Sega Nomad during a road trip. Do you have any tips to help people like me acclimate to VR? Have any of the PSVR launch titles caused the kind of funny crew to fall ill? Thanks for reading my question. This is my first time writing in, but I've been a fan since around the time of Ni no Kuni. Blah, 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 blah. He likes us. That's basically what he's saying.
Thank you.
He's being all that.
Thank you, Colin.
You got nauseous on any of these games? You getting sick on these games?
No, the only game that gave me a little bit of a rumble in the tummy was Until Dawn, actually.
Yeah.
And specifically on the roller coaster parts that are very realistic. You have most of the I love roller coasters. Many of us have ridden them, and that feeling. There's a feeling of dropping your stomach, and there's also a feeling of the visual aspect of it. That's scarier actually when you shut your eyes on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
If you shut your eyes in VR, you don't experience any of it. So basically, what I'm saying is you only experience the visual fidelity of the particular feeling. So you're not having your stomach drop, but still, my body expected that it was going to feel that, and I felt a little queasy, but I came out of it.
Yeah.
I was impressed by actually how it did fuck with me like that.
Yeah, no. I mean, Riggs is the one I always talk about that got me because of that elevator section. The elevator came up while we were getting the mech ready or whatever, and when the elevator stopped, my body didn't feel gravity stop, so it felt like it kept going, and that was really jarring and made me sick. And then I got out and had to worry about it. In terms of things more recently, the one I've talked about in code before because of embargoes was Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider has blood ties in there. You can walk around the manor in PlayStation VR, and when you start it, you start in comfort mode, which is like Batman, where you point your move, you warp to different parts, and you get to interact like that. And then they have, I think it's called free mode or whatever. Free mode is not unlocked from the beginning. It warns you that. It's like, hey, you're going to jump in. You're going to be in comfort mode. We want you to try this out. Some people get sick off free mode. No big deal. After a little bit, we'll unlock free mode for you. And then it's like, all right, free mode is unlocked, but it might make you sick. Be careful. I'm like, all right, let's unlock free mode. It's like, cool, you can unlock this, but it's going to make you sick. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm totally sure. And then like there's like one more time of like, hey, this might make you sick. Are you sure? I'm like, yeah, do it. And you did it. And like, yeah, immediately I was like, whoa. It was just, it was weird and jarring. The thing about this that doesn't help you with Until Dawn, it doesn't help you with Riggs, is I treated it like getting into a pool. So it was very slowly, where once I realized moving my head around in the space while moving was fucking with me, it became, all right, I'm going to stay really stiff and rigid, and then I'm going to move, with it as it goes and try to figure it out that way, and then slowly get some sea legs going. By the end, I wasn't sprinting through the manor feeling great, but I was able to play through it and not feel like I was going to barf or have to take off the headset. But it's trying to find that. It's harder with Riggs, where it is action combat, and to do that. They have different control schemes as well. I haven't even messed around with retail Riggs since the preview events. And then, yeah, Until Dawn, you're on rails. You got to deal with what you got to deal. Colin, are you ready to meet your new best friend?
Yes, thank you, Colin.
Thank you, Colin. This is Raphael Paranabi.
All right, let me see the fucking name.
I'll read his message. That's his PSN name.
Oh, there's Raphael Paraniba.
Spell it for everybody.
Rafael Paraniba. Lots of vowels.
That's his PSN name, and this is PS I Love This Best Friend XOXO. This is where people like Raphael go to kindafunny.com/forums, and they go to the PS I Love You board, and they post their name, and then you guys send them friend requests to play games with them, along with lovely messages. Raphael says, 1 year ago, I jumped from Xbox 360 to PS4 for one simple reason. Naughty dog. I'm a casual gamer who loves to play online while talking with friends and drinking some good beer. I am playing mostly GTA Online, but I'm always open to new games. Actually looking for someone to guide me through Destiny. Just discovered Kinda Funny in this awesome community. I hope to make some new friends. So everybody hit up Raphael Paraniba, RAFAEL PARANAIBA.
So many vowels.
Lots of vowels in there.
Shit. That's a lot of vowels. Good for you.
Good for you. Best friend confirmed. This week's forgotten PlayStation game wasn't submitted. Nobody put one in the new thread this
That's
thing.
good.
So I'm just letting it go. I'm not going to force
Last
it.
week they gave me one I never even heard of. I couldn't believe it.
They're just making up games now. Knob switch.
Some
Water
Capcom
bottle.
game I never even heard of it. It was
Kevin
unbelievable.
Wall. Time for PSN's worst name of the week. This is another one. It was dangerously close. Like, where's some new ones? These are all old. Oh, I saw this guy playing Rocket League. No, motherfucker. This is where one of you writes in and you gives us over on the forums your bad PSN name. Not someone you saw. Not you were on a bus and you looked at somebody's Vita. No more Rocket League at all. This one comes from the professor on the forums. I don't think we've used it before, but who the hell knows? We don't keep good records. Greetings, Colin and Greg. I know you usually prefer your own name in the segment, but I couldn't help myself. I was talking to my coworker, and he was telling me about how years ago when he was young and stupid, he made his PSN name Mr. MR _ Beater. B3ATER. Because he's good at beating people up in fighting games. After playing games online, he realized this: 1, sounds like he sits at home beating his meat all day, and 2, sounds very close to masturbator, and 3, people would joke that he probably beats his girlfriend. Unfortunately, due to these reasons, Mr. _ Beater is no more. People make mistakes, people grow up, so please, Shuhei, let us change our names. Keep up the great work, guys.
So you're saying no more as in they banned it?
No, I think the guy wised up to it. It sounds like the coworker finally got sick of people being like, "You masturbating right now?
You Mr. Peter.
Hey, Mr. Peter, swing your crane over here and punch your girlfriend in the face." Ladies and gentlemen, this has been P.S. I Love You XOXO, episode 57. Yeah, should have made a Heinz 57 reference earlier. Kevin, remind me next time we start a new show at 57, I got to make a Heinz 57 reference.
Very important, Kevin. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Make a note of it. Remember, this is kindafunny.com's PlayStation podcast, so go there, subscribe to the YouTube channels, back all the things, subscribe, like, share, do that. Go to the iTunes, do that, do all that stuff. Leave reviews. It helps us. Remember, it's the #1 PlayStation podcast. Remember, it posts every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, and we love and appreciate your support.
9 a.m. Pacific time. We love and appreciate all of you.
Oh, you're like my hype man. I like it. Let's end the show in a segment we call Singing a Shoehei.
Singing a Shoehei.
This is where one of you talented motherfuckers writes
talented.
in to kindafunny.com/PSM and gives me a song
Give him
that
a
you
song.
wrote, that you did, that
Give
they
him your
made,
song.
that you did.
Not a song, your song.
I need an MP3 and I need a YouTube video. The YouTube video gets annotated at the end of our YouTube video, and the MP3 gets tacked onto the end of our MP3.
Our MP3.
This one comes from Chimera 086. Hey guys, are you gonna hype man this guy?
Hey, it's good to see you.
A long-time listener, but just recently started floating around the forums here. After years of me and my current bandmates floating around different bands with each other, we decided to finally break off and do something where we all gave it our all. We started Near Conversion and released our EP, No Change. Now this is, it's K parentheses N-O parentheses
stop it.
W
Stop it.
change.
Stop it.
Earlier this year, in February. We are extremely proud of this work and are happy to finally be in a group that wants to follow their passions through. This is the last song off our EP, and it's called Two Steps Back, No Change. Now, this is important. 2 steps, parentheses.
Oh, fucking God.
N-O, change, parentheses.
You gotta stop.
P.S.
You can't do that stuff.
We love you all. We love you, Chimera 086. Everybody, this is Near Conversion with 2 steps back, no change. Until next time, no.
Near Conversion.
It's been our pleasure to serve you. I like it. You should do all of it like that.